Welcome back to Let the Boys Watch, an entertainment podcast brought to you by Going Great Productions. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Robbie, and today we have a very special double dip, little double feature. Today we're talking about the Terminator and T2 Judgment Day. Terminator came out in 1984. It was directed by James Cameron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn, Paul Winfield, and a quick appearance by, oh God, what's his name? Bill Paxton. Also, when we talk about T2 Judgment Day, 1991 sci-fi action thriller directed by James Cameron, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong, Robert Patrick, and where's my man? There he is, Joe Morton. Alongside me, this is a great friend of mine, great friend of ours, the cousin Benny. How you doing?
Feeling good. About to give you a thumbs up as I sink down into some molten steel.
Good, love it. And alongside me and Benny is one of our co-hosts, our good friend Ryan. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Robbie. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Fantastic. Great.
What's the matter, Robbie?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being sarcastic as prompting a follow-up, but good.
No,
I'm glad that you're good.
I'm here. I'm alive. I'm not dipping in molten hot lava and
Yeah. Or being
or
crushed by a hydraulic press.
or frozen and my limbs are falling off as I'm walking. I'm good.
Yeah, we're good. So yeah, like Robbie said, this is Let the Boys Watch, and we are talking about the Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Fantastic sci-fi movie, especially T2 when I was, very young and impressionable. I don't know how I was allowed to see it, but I did. Actually, I do know. I was at my friend's house and their parents didn't care. So that was nice. And we're gonna kind of mash both together. It is, I would argue, like one long story. There are definitely some differences, and we'll talk about some things for both movies. But a lot of the segments will be, put together, and we'll grab things from everything. But we are gonna give each movie a plum score, and we'll talk about each movie individually as well. Before we get into that, I just want to remind all the hundreds and thousands, you could say the T1000 amounts of listeners, that you can find us on Instagram at Let the Boys Watch Pod. You can also email the show about this episode or any episode we've done, or maybe some movies that you'd like us to watch in the future. We already got a couple lined up. We even got some cool special guests lined up who are going to pick the movies, which is awesome. Shout out Kenny. And you can email us at ltbwpodcast@gmail.com. And I think our good friend Benny has a special announcement if you'd like to take it away.
Yeah, September is going to be a big month for us. We got football coming back, but also we have a very special September sweepstakes that we'll be doing here. So we're going to be giving away either a $100 iTunes gift card or a $100 movie theater gift card. It'll be the winner's choice. And the way you get entries into that raffle is going to be to vote in our polls. There's a couple other ways, but basically every week we post a poll on what movie we're going to watch, and every time you vote in one of those polls throughout the month of September, either 4 or 5, I'm not sure, we said there's 5 votes this
I think
month.
there's 5 Fridays in September, which is nice if it works out. Like, I'm getting 3 paychecks in September, so suck on that, government.
So Ryan's going to pay for the whole $100 gift card
No,
himself.
no. I hope it's sponsored by Cyberdyne Systems, because I can't afford this.
So yeah, every time you vote in one of the polls in September, you will get an entry. But you can also get some bonus entries. And every email that we read on the show, as long as it's not a fluff email, if it has something to do with what we're talking about, you'll get another entry. And there's no limit on that as well. And then if you've left a written review for us on Apple, we will give you an additional 3 entries. And if you've already left one in the past, please screenshot it and send it to us after you leave it, or you pull up your old one, and we'll give you 3 extra entries for that. If you need help on how to leave a written review on Apple podcasts, DM us, email us. We'll give you a hand with that. So you can get a whole bunch of entries here and hopefully win yourself a cool $100 bill. I know we got inflation going on. It's not what it used to be, but hey, we're trying to help you out.
Yeah. I think let me add some small print there, Benny, because I think someone might try to take advantage of our good nature. You said there's no limit on emails. Maybe it should be 1 email per week.
Per show.
Yeah, per show.
1 email per show.
Because it'd be pretty easy for someone to spend, 20 minutes and pump off 10 emails. That's not happening.
Yeah. They have to be read on the show. And
Yes.
we do read everything as long as it's relevant to what we're doing. And we see you out there, people with the multiple accounts. We will only be counting one of those accounts. So keep an eye on that.
Robbie, anything to add?
No, I'm still salty about the money I got to put forward for this. So,
did you ever
no,
get that job at McDowell's?
I did.
Nice.
I moved up to the French fry machine after 2 weeks. So, no, like Benny said, get your ass in gear. It takes 10 minutes to write an email, anything. It's for a good cause. You help out some friends, trying to get some notoriety for their podcast, and you win a nice, cool prize. I mean, what's better than that? $100 gift card to, iTunes or a movie theater. I mean, that's fantastic. So help us help you.
You had me at hello, Robbie.
Exactly. And like my good friend William Costigan said, just do it, you cocksuckers.
Let us show you the money.
That's right. So before we get into the movie, we can't forget about this, is that this technically is for one of our biggest fans, Katie, last name redacted, who has been asking us and even got her minions to email us, I think about 14, 15 emails to please watch and review Terminator 1 and 2. So Katie, hopefully we get an email from you next week about what we maybe didn't get right in your mind, or what we probably got right, even though you think we're wrong. Either way. But happy birthday. And the show's for you, I guess.
Happy birthday,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, who cares? Happy birthday, whatever. I don't care.
All right. So I think Benny, you have never seen either Terminator 1 or 2, correct?
Affirmative.
Like don't say it like that. Say no problemo.
No problemo.
Robbie, when was the last time you watched either Terminator 1 or 2?
Ooh, probably like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you asked
91.
the question. What the fuck's so funny? I mean, you asked the damn question. I answered.
What? That's funny. 30 years ago.
The Terminator, yeah, 30 years ago. Probably 20 something years for T2. Yeah, it's been a while, man. A long time.
Nice. So this was like kind of fresh for you a little bit.
Yeah, definitely fresh. Definitely new perspective, especially for the Terminator.
So I know Ryan's probably seen these multiple times. Have you seen any of them multiple times, Robbie?
T2, yeah, the Terminator just once, and that was it. So it was pretty fresh watching it again. I felt like I was watching a movie I've never saw before.
Yeah,
so long ago.
First Terminator, I might be in close to the same boat as Robbie, like 25-ish years, 30, something like that. Because I only saw it maybe twice. I saw the first one, but T2 I watched probably like, I don't know, 20 times in the 90s at least. But I haven't seen it in a while, so it was good to watch. I kind of want to watch all the rest of them, but I heard they're not super good, so we'll see. Whatever.
Have you seen any of the rest of them? I'm assuming you saw T3.
I saw T3, but I don't remember a lot about it. I only saw it once. And then the other ones like Salvation and Genesis, I don't believe I saw either one of those. But with my abundance of free time, maybe I'll watch those again at some point.
I hear you're gonna have even more free time coming up soon.
Oh, better believe it. Take the free time I have now and divide it in two. That's
Oh
the
my
amount of
God.
free time I'll have.
Robbie, have you seen any of the others?
I think just three. That's it. Nothing else.
And three was that Arnold's return after he was the governor?
Yes.
Okay. I do
And
want to see it. I'm curious now at this point. Like I'll let you into a little bit of what I got going on outside of watching 40-year-old movies because I haven't seen any of them. I just started the Yakuza games on PlayStation. I have 8 games to go through.
oh my God.
So
Jesus.
I am somebody that once I start something, I got to see it through to the end. So thankfully, the Yakuza games have been awesome. From what I hear, the rest of the Terminator movies not awesome. So maybe I'll let you guys know how that turns out.
Yeah.
I did see what did I see? The other one, there was Boninator 2, Judgment Day. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Oh yeah, it was good. I mean, the guy who played Arnold. Oh boy. Talk about a T1000.
Yeah. Was that the same
Golly.
director as Jugs on the Run?
Yeah.
Nice.
I
All
forgot
right, I'll have to
but
check that out.
well, you know his name? I forgot his name.
Uh no, I couldn't think of anything. Ronnie
Benny,
Jugs.
Benny, did you know his name? I forgot. I really forgot his name.
Wow. I think it was Francis Ford boning you. I got nothing.
That was going actually.
That's not bad. Better than me. God, we went
Acclaimed
off the
director.
rails. Quick.
As we're known to do.
Yes. But before we get into it, I just want to say that I'm the opposite of you, Benny, where I will just in the middle of just bail. I've stopped watching so many shows. I can't even think of all of them. It's crazy.
It
I'll
has to
bail in
be
a second.
Yeah, it has to be really bad for me to bail out on something. Like I need to know the end, and even just reading it, like no, I need to see it through for some reason.
No, I'll bail. I'll read the plot summary on Wikipedia if I have to, but the second I'm bored, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I got other things to do.
Yeah, you got to put up a fence so turkeys don't get in your backyard.
Yeah.
Damn right. So because you have never seen it, Benny, can you please enlighten us on what your thoughts were before that? Like you must have, I mean, as a kid in the 90s, Terminator, especially Terminator 2 was big. So what
Yeah.
did you think about it, know about it, whatever?
Well, I mean, I think it would shock a lot of people when I say I'm a huge Arnold fan. So the fact that I haven't seen this movie is kind of contradictory to that statement. Like I love me some Jingle All the Way. I love me some Kindergarten Cop. I, watch Total Recall. So I do love Arnold. I just don't know. I'm stubborn, and like if I don't see something for a while, like once I pass a certain point, like that's it. I don't care how many people tell me great things about it. I think Ryan froze again.
No, I'm just not moving.
Oh, I saw the finger on the on the background, and I thought that was your hand. I was like, oh shit, his finger's frozen. No, but yeah, so I'll reach a certain point where I just kind of like become anti something without seeing it. And like I think that's a lot what this podcast has helped me do is like correct some of these mistakes. But yeah, I mean, so much stuff in pop culture from the second movie, at least the Hasta La Vista baby, I'll be back, come with me if you want to live, like all those things. So you can't help but know some things about the movie. But yeah, I mean, even then I had no idea like what the backstory of everything was. Obviously I've heard of Sarah Connor, but I didn't know the role that she played and all this stuff. So I feel like as big as these movies were, I still went in pretty fresh.
Did it like was it much different than you expected it to be to a certain extent? Like did you expect it to be like the machines versus humans and that kind of stuff, or
Yeah, I kind of had an idea that Arnold was bad, and then I kind of had an idea that he was good. So I kind of didn't know. I thought there was going to be more of them involved, more cyborgs. So, like, I don't know. I was a little confused going in, and I wasn't really sure what to expect.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, should we do some overall impressions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you guys want to do T1 then T2, or let's just do both together, I guess?
Up to you guys.
T1, then T2. Doing them together would be a
Yeah.
disservice.
Okay. All right. So, Robbie, do you want to start, or do you want me to start, or what? What do you think? Benny was just talking.
Benny almost said, "Get to the chopper." That's what
I
he
almost
came
did,
out of his
yeah.
mouth.
Get to the chopper.
Which is funny because one of the Yakuza games I'm playing, there is a scene with a helicopter and someone says get to the chopper, so I thought it was fitting.
That's classic stuff. Ryan, you can start if you want.
All right. So my overall impressions of Terminator are that it's not as good as I remember as a movie by itself. It's still a pretty good movie, and it's especially good considering it came out in 1984. Most, early mid 80s movies, not great. But I do love it as like a prologue to T2, which I feel is like the vastly superior movie. Like Robbie and I were talking throughout the week, like, oh my God, T2 is so much better than T1. But T1 is still like decent. It's hard to say because like I didn't enjoy watching it this time around. But that sounds really harsh. Like I wasn't bored, and I wasn't like looking at my phone and like whatever. I just was kind of like about it. But when I look at both movies together, I really enjoy it because I love the story, from the start of one through the end of two, maybe three, and the other ones will also be, add-ons to this. But as a prologue to T2, I like it. If I only watch Terminator 1, it's not a great film. Like I probably would rate it lower than what I'm gonna rate it, because of both movies, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to give your plums now, or do you want to? We'll give both scores at the end, maybe.
We'll do both scores at the end.
Okay, Robbie.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you. It was still kind of fresh. It's been so long, and I've seen so many different movies and documentaries and YouTube clips that I've kind of forgot what this movie was not about, but you forget what it looks like and the imagery and all these different aspects of it. So watching it now, it was totally different because obviously in 1984, I'm 100% sure this technology and special effects was out of this world. But watching it now, I was like, okay, and I didn't want that to hurt the score, but even T2 is so far superior. That came out 30 something years ago, and the special effects is still fresh. Like Ryan said, I do like the prologue story to it. I do love seeing like a naive Sarah Connor in the Terminator to what she becomes in T2, and you understand why she's like that. I do love, a flashback, a flash forward type of movie. So, back in time, in the future type shit. So I enjoyed that. But as far as like something that would keep me entertained, a second, third, fourth, fifth watching, I don't think so. I think this is the last time in my life that I'm going to watch the Terminator. It really didn't capture my attention, and I thought it was enjoyable. I think Arnold is so much more charismatic in T2, obviously, but yeah, action was great. Score was cool. I love a couple synths here and there during a car chase scene, so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the way that this movie was made for the time period. But watching it in 2023, it just was a little bit off for me.
So I'm gonna disagree a little bit. Like I really enjoyed the first one. I liked the horror element of it, And I mean, we'll get into it, but the two movie, what I wasn't expecting was how different the two movies were going to be. But I enjoyed all the tense moments. I feel like they built tension really well in the first one. You know, I like Arnold being just scary as hell and not really talking at all. I just thought it did so much for his character. Obviously, we can talk about the shitty special effects, but I just kind of felt like it is what it is. For me, from a movie from 1984, I feel like it held up pretty well. And I was expecting both of the movies to be like the second one. And I think maybe the movie subverting my expectations made me like it a little bit more than maybe you guys did, because I didn't have any knowledge of it going in. But I liked it. I liked Sarah Connor in this movie better than I did in the second one. I just thought, like you said, that naivete, if you will. I just liked that version of her better. It was cool. I mean, like, even, you know, think about when the robot rises up from the fire, and like, as shitty as like the stop motion was with it, I thought that the design of the robot held up. I thought it was fucking badass. I thought it was, you know, even when it was crawling on just the elbows after her in the press, like, that it was really good for me. And I don't know. I say that I'm not a really big horror fan, but maybe if horror movies are done right, like I feel like this was, I'd be more of a horror fan than I think I am. But I really enjoyed it.
Nice. I'm Go ahead, Robbie. Go ahead.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, I think, Robbie, when you were younger and you saw both of these movies, did you see T2 first and then the Terminator, or did you see Terminator 1 and then T2? Do you remember?
I think I saw T2 first.
Me also. I wanted to me too. Me also. And I think that may like it probably affected what I thought about the first Terminator, and then also Terminator 2. And like, for Benny, watching T1 first, then T2 gives him a different perspective on like I think you said, Robbie, like how Arnold, for obvious reasons, is not as charismatic in T1. He's just a killing machine. And then T2, he grows and gets a little more human and whatever. But things like that, like, we're going to have different perspectives on, because we saw them in a different order, and they are, like, not totally different movies, but different enough that I think, at least for me, it affected me. Like, I always looked at Terminator 1 as like just like a prologue to 2, because 2 has the, like, it, I mean, I know there were sequels, but it like wraps it up, this kind of whole storyline. And I don't know if I'm talking out of my ass a little bit, but that's what I just thought right now.
I feel like, too, for me, the story in the first one was very tight. And I
Yeah.
like that. Like, I like a tight story. I feel like it was from Jump Street, you know, we're going, and like, we're you know, we're not doing like a lot of side stuff and, you know, extra scenes. I just thought it was, for me, it was just, you know, a solid story. You know, the first thing I texted you guys was, oh, it's only an hour and 47 minutes. I'm pumped.
All right.
And I feel like it delivered because of that. That was, you know, that was one of its selling points.
Yeah. Do you want to just keep going on your overall impressions? Anything to add on
For
T2?
for T2.
Yeah.
So T2, I'm not gonna say I didn't like it, because I did. I thought it was good. For me, I think that T1 held up a little bit better than T2 did. Like, I wonder if I saw it back then. I don't know, man. Like, there was just some cheesy stuff to T2. Like, you know, I joke about the thumbs up as he's going down into the steel. Some of, you know, just what?
That scene is amazing. Shut up.
All right, come on.
No,
I'll tell
I'm
you,
joking. You can
you
you
know, I know.
obviously are welcome to your own opinion, but I just want to let you know right now, Robbie and I have already started considering kicking you off this podcast.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go. We'll put it up for a poll. Um, I didn't like Sarah in this movie. I feel like she was a little too jaded, and it was like a little too try hard for me. Not saying she was bad. It was just the way I perceive the character. John too, a little at some points. It was a little not ridiculous, but just
Mom.
silly. Yeah. But I did like the whole, I don't know. I feel like there are more plot holes in the second one than the first one. And the first thing I did after the first one was text you guys about what I felt like was the paradox of the first movie. It just seemed like, to me, it was like, let's blow out the budget. Let's just do the biggest things possible on everything. I love, let me pull up his name because I want to give him proper credit. I love Patrick, Robert Patrick
Robert
as
Patrick.
T-1000. I thought
Amazing.
he was like awesome. I don't know how I feel about the liquid metal thing. Like, that to me was kind of like amazing special effects for the time, I'm sure, but I just didn't love that. But I thought he was great. And to me, it just was, maybe because I watched one and I enjoyed how tight it was, and it felt like, this, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt like excessive. Everything felt excessive in two, which is maybe kind of the point because it is an action movie and it's different. Um, I don't know. I liked it, but I think I liked one more.
Understand. Robbie, any
Who are
thoughts?
you? Who are you?
My CPU is a neural net processor, a learning
That's right,
computer.
a learning computer.
Let me tell you something right now. If you thought Brian was pissed off about the Oppenheimer review, wait until he hears this. So that
Good.
rivalry is gonna stand the test of times.
It's gonna be me versus him, like T800 and John Connor. I mean,
Oh my God,
Sarah Connor.
I can't believe it. Want me to go? I
Yeah,
can go.
please go ahead.
I agree with you with Sarah Connor. She very much annoyed me in this film. Watching it again, she was definitely a little try hardish, but I did like her in the first one. But I mean, as far as action movies, I think this is the greatest action movie of all time.
No.
And for the time period, I mean, nobody was doing this shit. Special effects, some of these chase scenes were out of this world. I mean, I'm not going to go into my favorite scene and stuff like that, but I don't know. I thought it was like more well paced than the first one. Uh, Terminator to me sometimes kind of, I guess in the beginning, kind of dragged a little bit. I understand what you're saying. T2 is a lot longer than it, maybe like a half an hour longer. But I don't know. I think the Skynet stuff was awesome. I thought, the way it's so relevant today,
Yeah.
how worried we are about computers and AI taking over, that 32 years ago they were talking about it, and it's still completely relevant in our everyday life. So I thought that was awesome. Because people still fear that. I mean, obviously, you look what the computer has done and how it changed and shaped, humanity. I think, I don't know, man. I just think it was such a better movie than Terminator 2. But I'm not bashing you for any of your takes on that. Uh, I just love this movie. I think Arnold's great in this movie. Edward Furlong can go take a fucking hike somewhere and never come back, which he hasn't since this movie. But no, I mean some of the scenes in this movie are just so iconic. You got the Guns N' Roses. You got my man from, I think, Salute You Shorts hanging out with Edward Furlong.
Yeah.
And yeah. I don't know. I went into this movie loving it, left watching this loving it, and still was amazed by the special effects in this movie. And I thought the story was good. Thought the acting was good. A couple over the top performances, but this movie just kept me fucking, intrigued from start to finish.
I think, sorry, Ryan, I'll let you go, but I just feel like if I had seen this when it came out, I think that's what hurt me, because for all that revolutionary and groundbreaking stuff that happened in the second movie, I've seen it a million times in other movies. So to get your mind blown like that the first time you saw it, I think that stays with you. And for someone that doesn't watch a lot of horror movies, maybe, that refreshing outlook I had on the Terminator was why I kind of enjoyed that one a little bit more.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say. Like, Robbie, when you first saw T2, it was probably like maybe, I mean, around then you were probably like around 10, something along those lines, maybe 11, 12, something in there. Same for me, like, so like middle school ish. And I remember just being like, this is the coolest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. And like people talking about the liquid metal and freezing and like all the special effects, the robotic arm, like that shit stayed with me. And I think, I probably do have a little bit of an inflated view of it because of how much I loved it growing up. But I don't care. It's hard to separate nostalgia from, pieces of art, whatever it is, music, movies, art, whatever. Um, but yeah, I just remember people like how cool this movie was. It was groundbreaking. It was like this. And then I think the next thing that was like people talked like that about was probably The Matrix. So like 8 years later. And then after that, I'm not even really sure if anything is really, maybe like Inception-ish sort of. I don't know. But those two were definitely movies that people were just like, holy shit, that is amazing. And a lot of the special effects, yeah, you can tell they're from the 90s, but like they held up pretty good. Like a lot of them look really good. There's a few times you see like Arnold's rubber face and stuff, but like it's okay. It doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, the biggest culprit of that is the first movie, right? The scene where
Oh
he's like
yeah.
stitching himself up and
Yeah.
stuff.
There's like hands like fucking 15 sizes than a human hand.
Yeah.
Yep. But like
But
even that, I mean, in '84, that was like, holy shit, look at this stuff. But 91, it's weird how I would say like Terminator 2, Jurassic Park 1, and I guess maybe The Matrix, although that was like a little bit closer to like CGI and stuff like that. But like those three hold up really well, even though there's movies that came out after that have advanced technology and look worse than them, like, which is
yeah,
mind-boggling to me. Like, whatever.
It
Anyway,
was like, and it was such a pop culture event that you
yeah,
don't get anymore. Like Guns N' Roses. Like I don't know if there was a Guns N' Roses video that featured, or maybe like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I
I like
think
in it,
I think you're right.
like just cutting back and from like movie scenes in the video. I don't know, something like that. But like besides like Jugs on a Run too, this is probably one of the best sequels of all time. I would say, right?
Yeah. I,
What other sequels besides your classics like what Godfather 2 and I don't even know what else.
Back to the Future 2, maybe. That's about it, I think.
Ferris Bueller's 2,
No, no.
Days Off Again.
Yeah. The next day. No,
But
you're
yeah, I
right.
mean,
Like this probably is like maybe the best sequel ever. You're,
yeah, definitely top 5, of course,
yeah.
100%.
Like discount, not counting like maybe like certain trilogies, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, like nerd shit. But yeah, no, this was T2 is fucking something else when it came out. It was definitely like you said, a cultural event for sure.
Yeah, I'll go T2,
Yeah.
Grease 2, Night Fever 2, Electric Boogaloo, and then Godfather 2.
Yeah.
In that
That's how I
order.
run in that order, in exact order.
I can't beat that list. Um,
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand it. And like, I feel like I missed out on not watching that when it came out. That's kind of what I came away with it, when the movie finished is like, being that young when this movie came out, like you said, probably like blew your balls through the fucking your prepubescent balls through your
yeah.
seat. Like
Yeah.
it must have been crazy. And
It actually caused my puberty to start. It blew my
yeah.
balls right out of my body.
Yeah.
This was probably the first movie we've watched where I felt like I missed out not watching this when it came out or somewhere around then.
Yeah, because Shawshank and Pulp Fiction, like those movies you can watch today, and
Hmm.
it's just relevant. There's no CGI. There's nothing that and like there's not action. Yeah, Pulp Fiction is action, but it's like I feel like everyday action, not like sci-fi action
Right.
or like a future premise or world-ending type premise. But there was stuff in this movie that was just fucking frightening and terrifying in T2. Um, Stabbing scenes and world-ending by nuclear holocaust scenes like that shit was fucking scary. And it like you were saying, the T-800, Robert Patrick, he was fucking menacing back then. And even watching it now, he was so good in this movie. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't understand what happens to like these guys who and gals who play like these fucking fantastic parts, and you never really see him again. Like yeah, he was in Soprano and shit like that, but you never really seen him like reprise a role like this or go on to bigger and better movies.
Yeah, it's true. He was so good as T-1000, like just barely spoke, but was just so like similar to Arnold in T1. But I think Patrick was better as T-1000 in two than Arnold was as the T-800 or whatever in one. Like he
Yeah.
was just so good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But all right.
Definitely some more stuff I want to talk about with him, but I'm
Oh
sure,
yeah,
we'll get to it when it
for
comes to our
sure.
favorite characters and stuff.
Definitely. So should we give some plum ratings and then we can get to those character discussions?
Sure.
Do you want to do, we'll each do both. Um, and then we can, talk about it, explain whatever. Who wants to
Yeah.
go first?
Robbie, why don't you lead it off?
Oh no,
What?
that's tough. Okay,
You
I
dropping
want to
double
get it.
tens on us?
I want to get a gauge. Um, yeah. So I feel like what I said before. Obviously, maybe if I saw this in '84, I was a young lad, you know, in '84, fighting a couple of diseases, coming back to life. But here I am. I would feel different about it, but seeing it now after not having seen it like 30 years, 30 plus years ago. Um, as far as a plum rating, I'll give it 8.0. Uh, I was thinking about the sevens, but I couldn't. I just think it's a very good movie. I think the action sequences is what makes the movie for me. Story's very good as well. But yeah, I'd have to go 8.0 for the Terminator.
And what do you got for T2?
Oh baby. For T2, do I think it's a better movie than Shawshank Redemption and Pulp Fiction? Some very high scores that I gave and Saving Private Ryan. Eh, no, I don't. But as far as action movies go, and as far as movies that changed the way people filmed action movies, then the way they shot action movies and the special effects they brought into action movies, and just how big of a movie it was and how much it kept me on my toes, and the characters and the action sequences, like I said, and the chases. I was debating, but I think it's the best action movie ever made, and for that and the rewatchability, I have to give it a 10.
Wow.
Wow. I love it.
Oh my God, you blew my bees off on that one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
Officially.
know, I love it. I love that you loved it like that. That's awesome. The heat's
Now
on
I
for me, I'll
know.
tell you that.
Now I know why you cry.
It's so good. You learned how to love.
Exactly. Taught him how to love. Fucking dumbass Edward Furlong taught him how to love.
Yeah. Ben, you want to go or you want me to go?
I want you to go.
All right. So, um, like I agree. I mean, T2 is way better than T1 in my opinion at this point. Rewatching it today. Ask me a number of years ago, I might have had a different tune, but um T1 honestly would be lower if it wasn't for T2. Like if we, for whatever reason, if we just watched Terminator 1 and I wasn't thinking of it like a prologue to T2, I probably would have gone like high sixes, to be honest.
Jeez
I was
Louise.
watching it and just being like, all right, like I really was not engaged in it. And to be fair too, I probably was tired or was thinking about how my kid jumped all over me and kicked my balls off my body or something. Um, but because I watched pretty much them both like back to back, I bumped it up. And I'm gonna go 7.4 for T1. So I'm right.
Benny's writing notes. He's got
Oh,
his
you
iPad
writing
out.
the scores
He's got
down?
the
I was
pen.
doing the same thing.
No, I thought he was
Yeah.
like writing notes.
Yeah.
I
Not
got
the
all my
scores.
rebuttals ready.
Oh, that's fine. And but for T2, again, nostalgia probably helps this a bit. But even I haven't watched it in a while, and I was just fully engaged, loving every minute of it. The
Plums were
action,
swollen.
my plums were swollen. I was floating on the ceiling. They were like two big purple balloons. Um, but Robbie's right when he brings up some of the other movies. And it's really hard, especially the more movies that we watch, it's really hard to differentiate like these movies, the scale that I don't want to say creating, but like fleshing out with all these different type of movies. So like when you're saying like, is it better than this? Is it better than that? Um, is it the best action movie of all time? It's probably for me. I mean, I I might put the first Matrix above this one, maybe, I think. Um, but I gave this a 9.3.
Oh my god, I went too high.
No,
No, I
no.
don't think you did.
No, I
It's
think you're
personal ratings.
yeah,
I thought
personal.
I then I can't fathom what you're gonna give a 10 because I thought you were giving this one a 10.
Nah.
I don't know what
I think there's two movies that I would give a 10 and we haven't watched them. But I don't even
oh
know.
you s-
I don't know.
oh you were saying what did you say? You said Schindler's List. You
Yeah,
wanted to give a 10?
nah.
And Schindler's Fist.
Well, that's an 11. No, I mean
um,
it's a as just an action sci-fi like partial comedy. Yeah, it's a 10, but in comparison to all other movies, and that's the way I'm looking at this, like 9.3 is wicked high for any movie. Um, is it better than movies that I've rated higher, Pulp Fiction or Shawshank? I don't think so. I think I would rather watch those movies over T2, but it's really close. I mean, I've watched Shawshank and Pulp Fiction maybe like once a year for my whole adult life. T2 I haven't watched in I don't know 15 years, 20 years. So like I think that says a little something.
I'm
Funny.
I thought I felt really good about my scores, and now I don't know how to feel. So I'm ready to get roasted,
They're your
toasted.
scores.
They are my scores. Yeah, so I really thought heavily about it after T2 ended. Like, if I had to watch one of the movies again, I would have watched the first one again. Like, I really did enjoy the horror elements. I enjoyed like just all the tension in that first one and not knowing what was going to happen, and how this thing was going to get resolved. The only thing that I really didn't like about T1 was the paradox that I mentioned. Like, okay, so this guy comes back from the future to make her pregnant, and then her son, but then how did that happen if they didn't know that that was going to happen? How was the son already born to send him back? So to me, it just created that loop that like I was just hurting my brain. And I mentioned to you guys that like I guess my explanation to this is the future is inevitable, and that's kind of what I thought the answer was going to be at the end of T2, and I really didn't get that. T2, I just felt like I said, it was excessive, but good because that's what a good action movie is. But I don't know, man. I really kept coming back to T1, like I said, and I gave T1 an 8.3. Really enjoyed it. And then T2, I gave 8.1. So,
Still good
I mean,
scores.
after hearing a 9.3 and a 10, I feel real bad about that one, but I don't know. That's just where I landed.
I think I have to go back. I think personally, I have to go back to film school because I think I'm just fucking too easy on the scores.
They're your scores, baby. You score anything, any way you want.
They're your scores, and if that's how it makes you feel, like, dude, I'll go watch fucking 20 baseball games in a month, and I love it, and I want more and more and more. You don't like it, so, you watch this movie,
Facts.
and when you yeah, when you turned it off, you were left with feeling like a 10. So that's what you gave it. So I don't I don't knock you for that. I don't think it's a bad score or anything like that.
No, I think even I was talking to Brian. I think he might give it close to that. I don't know. These score the more movies we score, the more I think it's weird and like really hard to do and be like almost be proud of. Like not proud's not the word that I want, but it's like really hard to differentiate different genres of movies and like is this all on the same scale? Does it matter? Like what's the ultimate like deciding factor here? Like I don't it's hard. For me personally, it's mostly rewatchability, but nostalgia plays a huge part. And I think that's why Benny's scores were a little lower because he never watched these before, and we have like the warm fuzzy feelings about T2. Like T2 is probably my favorite movie for like 8 or 9 years in the 90s. Like it was amazing. That or maybe Army of Darkness.
I kind of feel like I'm locking into my rating system.
Yeah.
And to me, it's how I feel as soon as the movie ends. I'll think about it a little bit, but I have a very tight ballpark once the movie ends. And I've been trying to stick in it. And it's not, I'm trying not to compare it to other movies. It's just how it made me feel when I was done watching it. So that's why, like, I appreciate your 10, because if that's how you felt when that movie ended, then yeah, that's a 10 then.
Yeah, and I kind of want to base it also how it made me feel, rewatchability, nostalgia, I guess. But I do kind of break it up into genres. Action, like this is action movie, and like I said, I think it's the best action movie of all time. So, why not? Would I want to watch it? Would I want to watch it over Pulp Fiction? Absolutely not. And I'm still devastated till this day. I'll go to my deathbed being devastated and give Pulp Fiction a 10 because I love the movie so much. But two different movies to me. But as far as like action movies go, and just how revolutionary this entire movie was in that time period, the special effects, like I said, it just blew my bees off. And this has nothing to do with it, just because this is a KDN episode. If it was, I would have gave this a fucking 0.0, but I'm not worried about that. I'm doing it for me. There's no influence on her. So I just want to get that out. Just disclaimer.
Speaking
So
of her,
thank you.
she sent me a message. Do you want me to read it or should we save it for the end?
Do it now. I feel like this is a good time.
Good breaking point. And
Yeah.
one last thing I want to say about my own personal scores is in my life in general, I don't think very few things are like perfect to me. Like nothing's ever perfect. And I think that's a flaw of mine. But other than my wife, she's perfect, and my son, he's perfect. Other than that,
Beautiful.
and
Beautifully
my
said.
parents and my brother and sister and you too. And then that's about it. But like I'm always like if someone's like, "Oh, what's your favorite whatever?" I'm like, I don't know. I like what's your favorite color? I like blue today, but yesterday I liked green. Like I don't know. I have a difficult time like really committing to like one thing. So I'm surprised I'm married.
So you're gonna sit here and lie to me and tell me that you don't like anything that's perfect, but you forgot about a Martin's potato roll.
Ah,
That's a 10.
that's
That's
true.
a 10.
That is a 10 out of 10 every time. You're right.
Yeah.
Robbie, see, this is why I need my friends and family to call me out on my bullshit.
Martin's the 10 through and through. Action,
Ah,
comedy, drama,
everything,
you name it.
every genre. Good point, Robbie. That's why we're heterosexual life partners.
Exactly. That is true.
So Katie said to us, "Hi all, sorry for the very delayed admission, but yay kids. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys watching these movies. Um, you guys have thrown me for a loop with the limited amount of movies that that you have seen, and this series was one that I really wanted Benny to add to his list of films that he had watched. It was great to have an excuse to watch these films again since I hadn't watched them in a long time. I grew up with a brother 9 years my senior, and watching movies like this always had this way of making me feel like a cool little sister. T1, Kyle Reese, my unused baby girl name that Phil never approved of, had my heart, and Arnold had always been such a love of mine in so many movies. As a little girl, my mom was always afraid her first grandson would be named Arnold. I'll send a follow up after I hear your opinions, which I'm sure will likely make me angry for 5 minutes. Then I'll accept them. Again, thank you for taking the time to finally watch this one, especially you, Benny. I was going to use government names, but I didn't.
It's all right, but hey, glad to do it. I'm glad this is our first double feature too. I enjoyed watching two movies back to back like this.
Yeah, agree.
Oh, it was fucking torture. Oh, it was so much torture.
Yeah, you couldn't watch as many golf YouTubes this week because you were watching all these movies.
Exactly. And I couldn't watch any golf on my YouTube channel, and I would have fucking and I was losing it. But hey, it's for a good cause.
That's right. All right. So should we get into some character discussion? Would you guys like to do least favorite or favorite first?
Let's do least favorite first because I feel like we're gonna go on for days with the favorite. So let's save the best for last.
Yeah, good idea. And we'll do least favorite, let's do across both films, and then favorite, let's pick one for each. And I will say for favorite, you can pick if someone picks, let's say, Arnold in T1, you are allowed to pick Arnold in T2 because it's technically separate characters. So who would like to go first with the least favorite characters?
I'll lead off. I don't want to steal
Please.
anybody's favorite picks, so I'll steal your least favorite pick. Give me, let me get her name here. I think her name is Ginger, but the roommate in the first movie, go fuck
Oh,
yourself.
stunk.
So annoying with the fucking headphones. I hated it. With your stupid dance moves. I don't know what sandwich you were making before you got murked, but there was lunch meats involved. There was peanut butter and jelly getting slopped around. I think I saw celery at one point. So, and she definitely wasn't using a Martin's potato roll or potato bread. So,
Absolutely not.
For those reasons, I'm out.
That's what I said to myself. I said, she's brought deli meats out. Why is there a big jug of peanut butter?
Yeah, that was wild. What was
And
that about?
did she have sex Leonardo DiCaprio style with the headphones in?
Yes.
Get
She
her out of here. Also,
because he adjusts them on her head while he's dogging her out.
the most unbelievable part of the Terminator was they had me believe that the first Sarah Connor was 35 years old.
Yeah.
That bitch was like 66 years old when she opened the door.
Dude, years of indoor cigarette smoke will do that to a person.
Yeah,
that's true.
Dude,
that
people just look way more weathered and rugged back in the day too.
It's true.
Robbie, would you like to go next? You want me to?
I can go because this is somebody that nobody's gonna take. My least favorite character in the Terminator is that stupid police officer that called for backup after the car chase scene. He was a fucking bozo. He annoyed me. The way he was like talking was so annoying. I don't know. Another shitty actor from the 80s that just riles me up and chaps my ass. It was after they came out of the parking garage scene and Arnold like blows his head up against the car door. But yeah. Shitty cop guy. Get off my screen and go back to acting school. Hopefully Gene Cousineau saw you and made you a better actor. Because we're done here.
Shout out Gene.
Well, my least favorite is a character from both movies, and that would be Dr. Silverman, because he is a piece of shit. He just like he played that like character of just like smarmy, like therapist, psychologist, whatever, that like, I mean, to be fair, if you heard the story that Sarah Connor told, you'd be like, pump her full of drugs right now because he is a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I would always loved, and I don't know if they did it in. I highly doubt they would have explored his story after T2, but I'm curious to know, like, when both Terminators showed up at the psychiatric ward, like, was he like after the fact? Was he like, holy fucking shit, she was right this whole time?
Yeah.
Might have reevaluated his whole life.
That's what I like too. Like everybody that doubted her, in both movies, like got shut the fuck up real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah. So that was our least favorite. Oh shit. That means I have to go first for most favorite, which could be good. Should I do both T1 and 2, or should we one and then we'll go around and then do?
Yeah, 1 and then 2.
All right. So I mean, shit. For 1, I'm gonna go with Kyle Reese. It was tough between, I think, the top 3 people, Arnold and also Linda Hamilton, but I'm gonna go Kyle Reese. He was, cool, got the girl, went back in time, impregnated a girl, but was also fighting the Terminator. And he was just like cool as hell. I mean, especially for the 80s, like like I think Robbie said before, like if I saw this in the 80s, I probably would have like a different opinion on it. But he definitely was like cool as shit in this movie. I understand why Katie, last name redacted, had a crush on him for so long. Benny?
Robbie.
Or Robbie, whoever wants to go.
Well, on the draft rules, I will go next. My favorite character is Sarah Connor.
Nice.
Yes, I could have went Arnold, but he's badass. I understand. There's so little characters in this movie that you can really reach out to and kind of, pick as your favorite character. But I just besides the atrocious hair she wore out to the club, I think that she was so good in this movie, compared to T2. I just love, like we were saying, how naive she was, but I also love how she grew as a character and kind of hardened throughout the movie, and all the way up until the end. I did love the love story between her and Kyle. I thought that was great, and obviously, important to the plot. But I thought she was great. I love a movie where any character starts off like a little timid, or like, again, I use the word naive, and then you see them grow throughout the movie into this like hardened individual, or somebody that takes no shit. And I did love how this was a prequel to how you see her in T2 and how she is and why she's the way she is. So yeah, Sarah Connor, minus the hair, you were fantastic in this movie. So you are my favorite character.
Well, thank you for that, because how can I pick anybody else but Arnold in this movie? I just thought he was so menacing. I mean, dude was brolic in the second movie, but he was yoked out of his mind in the first movie. So he was shit, like I said, menacing. Him just stalking and just being like so deadpan throughout the whole thing. This was obviously early on in his acting career, so they didn't trust him with a lot of lines, and they didn't trust his accent and like the ability to be a leading man. But I just thought that this was the perfect role for him. And he delivered one of my favorite lines in the whole series. Fuck you, asshole. So I gotta go with Arnold in this one. I thought he killed it. I thought he was, like I said, man, if you look at this as a horror movie, he's just so freaking menacing in this movie. And I guess you can't contribute the robot version, but if it's character, then yes, you can. And I even thought that how badass the robot looked, it just made this movie awesome for me.
Benny, real quick, I know a couple of episodes ago we talked about the tush meter, and you love to call it the tushometer. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Can you give me the Arnold tushometer in the opening scene, please?
Listen, I mean, if tens are getting thrown around a lot today, but how is that not the best tush you've ever seen on a movie screen? I mean,
The
granted, I
best.
have a big 4K OLED screen here, but that thing, it might as well have been in 3D because that thing was just popping on my TV. So a hard 10. I'll give it a hard 10.
Oh my God, please, one of the best tushes I've seen in my life.
It's true. You think he waxed before the movie? You think Arnold's a hairy guy?
I think he was waxing heavily back in those
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, for his bodybuilding shit. Some of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
some of those pictures and videos of him when he was like in the bodybuilding game before acting are, how does a fucking human look like that? It's insanity.
Yeah. I don't know. Was it ever confirmed that he did steroids?
I
I
think
don't know.
so. I think it was.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, Pumping
Well,
Iron was fucking fantastic because that was a great movie, and you just saw him just be a real competitive dick, which is awesome. Just
yeah.
fucking with Lou Ferrigno for about a half an hour in the movie before the competitions.
I mean, I forget the comedian, but they talk about, who's had a better life than Arnold, like comes to the country, he got like no money. He becomes Mr. World or Universe or whatever he was, becomes a movie star, marries into royalty, basically, then becomes the governor of the biggest state in the country. Like, what a life for this guy.
And fucking
Oh,
everyone
fantastic.
loves him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Any Ani mentions for T1 though before we talk about T2?
Yes. And forgive me. I think I have the right movie up. No, I don't. I believe the character's name is Traxler. Is it um the lead detective or the lead police officer, the
Yeah.
black gentleman?
Yeah.
Was really upset when he died.
Yeah, Paul Winfield.
Yeah, you kind of knew everybody was toast in that police station once Arnold came rolling through, but I was really hoping he made it out, and because he, as crazy as everybody was taking Sarah, like you felt like he believed in a way, or like he didn't want to, not believe them and call them crazy. So I really liked him.
Yeah, great. I wanted to call him out specifically, but that was getting me thinking, like, imagine that was imagine that was real life, and for up until Arnold shows up again in T2, like they were talking about it, like killed 17 officers, whatever, but
Yeah.
like police and people would be talking about that for fucking ever. Some dude rolled in here by himself and killed 17 police officers with an arsenal and just kept getting shot and just kept, like, what would their explanation be? Probably like he was on like angel dust or some shit. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wild. Any other characters? Not really much in T1. The fucking
I don't
Ginger's
have
idiot
any.
boyfriend.
Oh, God, what a herb.
Nice underwears he had on though.
Yeah. All right, so T2, favorite characters.
Snaking it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I went running back with the first pick or the last pick of the first round. I'm going running back with the first pick of the second round. Give me Arnold in T2. Sorry
This
to
guy.
do it to you guys, but
This fucking
I
guy's really
mean,
chapped my ass.
sorry, babe. Sorry. I just love my favorite scene with him was that moment that he had with John under the car when he starts asking him about, like, why do you cry, and then they're doing the high fives,
Yeah.
and just that moment was great. And it was, you know I don't know, man. I love Arnold, and it just to see the camaraderie that the two of them built. I feel like as much shit as I'm gonna give John at some point during this podcast, I feel like the chemistry between them was really good. Scenes for days. I don't want to start naming scenes because I know we got our other superlatives to give out, but hasta la vista, baby, no problemo, dickwad, like just everything just hit for me with Arnold in this movie, and like actually getting to see his personality in this movie was great. Um, just a badass when he's on the bike and he's shooting the shotgun and flipping it around, just so cool, man. And all right, we'll get into more in the scenes, but give me Arnold all day, back to back, babe.
Well, one line that I feel like gets overlooked, but it's my favorite line of his in this movie is when he comes back with no arm in the steel mill and he just says, "I need a vacation."
Yeah. And shout out to my Brian, not the brother-in-law Brian, but my CPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer. For some reason, again, like the aha, like
Yeah.
it's just something he said all the time and brought up that was part of my, I guess catchphrases that me and him would always do to each other. And again, it's just another movie that I hadn't seen, but still, when that line came, I popped.
Yeah, that's a good line too. Wait, who's next? Is it me or Robbie? I don't remember.
Robbie.
So I can easily take Robert Patrick, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep him. I'm going to give him to you, Ryan. I'm going to take a main man, Joe Morton.
Nice.
I thought he was so good in this movie. I thought he was the best actor in this movie. I thought he was very, very good in this movie. I enjoyed, a little nerdy, family man. Obviously, maybe sometimes he was a family man, sometimes he's not. Very smart, very charismatic, I believe. But his death shook me to my core as a young 8, 9-year-old boy. That
Yes.
just him sitting there holding whatever they call that thing and just the breathing back and forth, and then
Yeah, that was so good.
such a great scene and so devastating to me as a young kid, and even devastating to me now because he was such a great character in that movie. Somebody who thought he was doing good, the good of the people, until he finally was told by Sarah and Arnold and John, what was actually going to happen to what he created. But
And accepted it.
yeah, and kind of accepted like, oh man, this is fucked up. And then as you see in the next scene, they go over to whatever the fucking building's called, and things happen. But yeah, Joe Morton, man, he was great in this movie. Again, very well acted. I enjoyed him thoroughly, and his death really hit home for me in when I watched it as a youngin, and then when I watched it as an old boy. So yeah, Joe Morton, you were my favorite character in T2.
Great pick.
Robbie, you think you avoided stealing Robert Patrick from me, but you actually stole Miles Dyson from me.
Did
Yeah. Well, so listen, in T2, it's Arnold, Robert Patrick, and for me, Miles Dyson. I like Linda Hamilton in this, and I also like Edward Furlong. Like, I get why you guys get annoyed by them, but I 100% agree with you, Robbie. His death, for some reason, like, has just been in my brain since I saw it. Like all
me too.
So that scene of him breathing just is permanently just scorched in my brain. And like anytime I hear someone like maybe hiccup or like do a weird like intake of air, that's what I think of immediately. And I don't know why. I guess it was just that good of a scene, but I'm glad you called that out because I wanted to mention that.
You must think about that death every week on the Going Great podcast.
Well, because he was so good, and Robbie's also so good.
That's why I do
That's
it
why.
in memory of Joe.
There you go.
Miles, yeah. So
Nice.
that's why because that reminds me of him. But I, like an idiot, when I was a young boy, and this is true, I might be making this up. I thought that when people died in a movie, that they died in real life. That's why maybe it was so devastating to me as a young kid.
Yeah. Hey, that's fair. You don't know movies are fake.
No, but like I said, like you said, that's probably one of the the hardest death scenes in any movie I've ever seen. Still to
Yeah.
this day. It's a
Yeah.
tough one.
It's a tough one. It did make me cry, but yeah, that one, maybe Thomas J in My Girl, that might have been a tougher death scene. Those
Bubba Gum.
fucking those bees got him. It was terrible.
There's
No, my-
there's something too about that breathing too that made it like feel
Yes.
real. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just so good, so well acted. Very good scene. Yeah, and just the close up on him and like how much tension, like him holding the trigger or whatever. Where's the trigger? Um, just yeah, that amazing.
What were we gonna say, Rob?
Yes.
I said my Bill friend of the program allergic to bees, so watch out.
Really?
Oh
Benny,
my god.
Benny, don't fucking go to a
I
bee
was gonna
store.
say I know how many level the playing field with
Yeah,
him.
you're giving away his weaknesses. What are you
Just
doing?
attack him with bees.
It's all right. It's all right, Brian. I'm definitely afraid of bees. I don't even know if I'm allergic or not, so you're safe for now.
Wait, have you never been stung?
Nope.
Shit, Robbie, you
I
ever
was
been
like
stung?
fucking. I was like
Yeah.
fucking Jackie Joyner Kersey when I saw bees back in the day.
I was stung, yes.
Yeah, me too. It's not great, but it's fine. All right, favorite character. I guess I'll go T1000. I mean, like I said, I don't have this taste for Linda Hamilton's for Sarah Connor and John Connor that I think you guys both do in this one. I like both of those characters, but I mean, like we said before, Robert Patrick plays T1000 so good. He's not as menacing as Arnold is in T1, but he's just such a good fucking liquid metal robot character. I loved him in this, like just as a villain, like how fucking crazy he was. Like, I don't know. I mean, again, I was young, but I'd never seen a villain that was just murder. Like that, like his only goal was to kill John Connor, and he did it however he wanted, just fucking killing people. Like that, the one that sticks out, I know you could say like John's foster parents. I mean, that one scene where he fucking sticks Todd right in the face is awesome. But that truck driver, he's just like, "Hey man, you all right?" Like then he just steals his truck like fucking crazy. But yeah, very good character. But I agree. I feel like a lot of characters in two are very good. All the main ones.
So this was like one of those out of context things that I had known about. I didn't know where he fit in the Terminator series. I thought it might have been one of the later ones, but I heard the story of him learning how to shoot a gun with his eye, keeping his eyes open, and I think that that's just like such a cool touch from him in the obviously it's not a real gun, but you're shooting off the fake rounds and you're gonna
Yeah, right.
flinch.
Yeah.
But for him to do that and the fucking sprint, like just like the perfect sprint with the eyes open and the head down, and like you see like the whites of the bottom of his eyes, just so fucking freaky. He's just yeah, like he didn't have to say a lot. I thought he was menacing. I thought, I mean, it was like, holy shit, how are they going to get out of this? Because everything that they showed you with the liquid metal was like, how are they going to do it? How are they going to figure this one out? One of the things that I didn't like though was like the ability for him to morph with like the scissor arms and stuff like that, because I feel like he could have got out of so many other situations with those kinds of abilities. So that was like one of the little suspension of disbelief things that I had going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that had to do with special effects ability in 1991 and cost. Like that one scene where he like just like goes into the helicopter window like with the hole, like that shit was awesome. But and you're right, they could have done that kind of stuff or the different metal weapons for a lot of things. Like there was a number of times when he was just like walking menacingly towards Sarah or John, like he could have easily just chopped their head off in like 2 seconds. But
Yeah, like you're riding an elevator down. Instead of like trying to like hole punch your way through it, like just cut the cable.
Yeah.
Movie over.
Movie over. But yeah. All right, good choices. And any honorable mentions for favorite characters for T2? We pretty much mentioned everyone. Like I said, I liked Sarah and John. I know you guys didn't that much, but they would be my Ani mentions.
I'll throw the Ani Mensch out for Earl Bowen as Dr. Silverman. Like, he was such a dick, but he was good. I liked him in the movie. Like, he played the character well.
Yeah. Like I've heard many times, he was a good dick.
Yes, a lot of times.
Never. All right. Anyway, the fuck is next? Scenes. Should we do least or favorite first? Maybe we'll do least first and then do favorite again because we're gonna do both.
Did we do least favorite character?
Yeah.
In T2?
Yes. Well,
did I
least
say?
favorite character was for both.
For both movies. Do you want to throw in Ani Mensch?
Yeah,
for least
throw an
favorite
Ani
for
Mensch
two?
for T1.
Yeah, the creepy guard that licked Sarah's face in fucking T2.
Yeah, good pick.
That guy was the worst.
Good
What a
pick.
fucking creep, and then beating the shit out of her. I forgot that he licked her face. Like, I'm like, I remember something's gonna happen here. And then it was so gross.
Yeah.
But I was like,
all
right. I would have done the same thing.
You know how there's like the Target brand of everything? Like, he's like the knockoff and Philip Seymour Hoffman, that guy. Like, that guy sucks.
He was.
I was gonna say,
just
go ahead.
dragging his cane. He was just like, and then just being a dick. Everybody's trying to sleep, but he's just dragging his fucking nightstick fucking across the fucking.
Dickhead.
That guy stunk.
I thought he
got his fucking dick blown off.
Yeah. I thought he looked more like that guy Jesse Plemons
Yeah.
than Philip
Todd
Seymour
from-
Hoffman, who he also looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman. So I don't know. Maybe they're all the same guy.
Never seen them all in the same place.
That's true.
Well.
What are you gonna do? All right, let's do least favorite scene first, and that'll be for both movies, and then we'll do favorite for each one.
Okay.
Benny?
I'll go first. All right. So it's not a least favorite scene, it's a least favorite line that killed the scene for me a little bit. But at the end of the first movie, when Sarah hits the button and goes, "You're terminated," I was like, oh, come on. Like, really? Like, what? Like, of all the things to say at this point, like, we just hit the climax of the movie. So for me, that was just like, fuck, man, you've ruined it a little bit here.
Like, I would love to just be in a writer's room and then everybody's like, all right, we got to end this movie in a great way. John, what do you think? How about if we say you're terminated? Fucking John. Yes, John. Good job, John.
Let's go home.
Yeah, everyone
get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
They wanted to bring back a line or another callback. You could have went with "fuck you, asshole" again.
That would have been great.
Sure.
Yeah. I would have gave it a 10.
Yeah.
That's it. So my least favorite scene is just the nuclear I don't know, fucking Holocaust, whatever it's called, fucking scene when you see little kids getting fucking decimated by a bomb or whatever. That was kind of tough to watch as an 8-9-year-old, and it was even tougher to watch now. I mean, the graphics were pretty intense, seeing a couple of melting bodies and Sarah Connor just melting to death and then turning into absolute bones and dust. So it was a cool scene, but like least favorite scene, if I have to pick one, I don't have a lot in each movie. I would have to go with basically the nuclear meltdown of little kids at a park enjoying the merry-go-round.
I feel like too. I don't know if I've told the story on this podcast, but Home Alone, I think it was one when Marv gets electrocuted and you see his skeleton. That freaked me the fuck out when I was a kid. So if I feel like I saw this too when I was younger, that would have freaked me the fuck out too.
Yeah, you might have never came out of the house
Yeah.
after that scene.
That was Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, Benny.
It was? Okay, yeah.
It was.
Not to be confused with Bone Alone 2. Lost in My Hole.
My least favorite scene was when they went to the Dyson's home, and Teresa, I think her name was, the mom, so Mrs. Dyson, is telling the son it's time for bed, and he doesn't listen. And the reason why that is my least favorite scene is because it gave me PTSD, because I deal with that every night of my life.
Good choice.
But he did have a cool.
Unbelievable.
Did you guys have radio controlled cars when you were kids?
Yes.
Those
I did
things were
not know.
fucking awesome. Oh my god.
But the battery died in like 38 seconds.
Yeah, but it was so cool for the 38 seconds. Trying to go off ramps and it just never worked, but it was still awesome. Oh, so then because of going back, any Ani mentions on least favorite scenes?
No.
I just have like the flashbacks with Kyle in the I guess the war with the machines. I get it, and it was probably awesome in '84, but it was that just kind of threw me off. Now I try to separate it, but sometimes you just really can. It's like, all right, these fucking ridiculous looking robots. I get it, but it threw me off. And hey, like I said, I pay my taxes. I have a right to form an opinion. So
Yeah,
was
I was concerned that we were going to get more of that in the first movie, and I was very happy that we didn't get more than we did.
yeah. Oh, we could, and we Kyle coming back in dream sequence. That was nice to see in T2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick bone sesh.
So all right, so then favorite scene. We'll start with T1. I think for me, my favorite scene in T1, I want to say the end fight, but I think I'm gonna go with the the dance club was absolutely ridiculous. Like just the set, like if those were dance clubs in the 80s, I send me back in time so I can go to that club and pay $450 to walk in the door. But that's when they converge on Sarah, Terminator and Kyle, and they're like, fighting it out and whatever. I think that was my favorite scene. It's probably Robbie's too, because all the synth in it, I'm sure.
It was.
Yeah, sorry
Can
I
I?
stole it from you.
Uh,
You can
Fine.
have it if you want. You could take it.
No. But that was a great scene. The
Yeah.
synth, the wardrobes, uh, Kyle grabbing the fucking shotgun and pumping it out of his trench coat. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, just another great scene.
Yeah. So,
It was so
Robbie?
tense. So tense.
Yeah, I do love a nice tense scene. Um, Me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I did have the nightclub scene as my favorite. I loved everything about
Oh,
that.
really? I'm sorry. I thought you were
Well, just so you know, it was my favorite too. So go fuck
Was
yourselves.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I mean, yeah, like Benny said, and I'll say it again, go fuck yourself. But I will go with the police station shootout. I thought that was a great scene.
Ah.
That was your favorite scene too? You little
No,
fuck.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. I should have picked that one, and then you could have had the nightclub. I'm sorry.
All right, we want the tape,
All
and
right, I'll cut it.
yeah, no, I'll keep it short. I love a good shootout. Like Benny said throughout this whole movie, Arnold was very menacing and just, I mean, as you could see, he was a tremendously jacked human being and he looked very intimidating. And I loved the way he played the character. Like you said, a man of few words, but he didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
That's how menacing and intimidating he was in this entire movie, which is great. But yeah, anytime somebody cuts the power in a movie, I'm all in
You're
because
rolling.
it just adds to the the tenseness of of the movie and of the scene. I loved it, and it was just a great scene. A little back and forth shootout. Uh, he just was on a killing spree and killed about 75,000 cops. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was one of my favorite scenes.
So for me, I mean, you both picked. I mean, they were both chalk, but for me, I guess what I got to go with is just the final chase and the final scene. I loved, uh, I don't love fake outs that much, but I think they did the fake outs better in this movie than they did in two. Like there were a couple times I was like, oh, really? That's it? Because it seemed plausible
Mhm.
and it ended up not being that. So, I like I said, man, I really loved the robot rising out of the fire and like, oh shit, like how are they gonna actually do it? Obviously missed me a little bit with the robot running down the hall, and it just looked
That was tough.
it looked terrible. But I thought that, the T-800 actual skeleton was so badass that it made up for that. I loved, even though Reese killed himself with the bomb, he even then, like the upper half of the T-800 lived on, and I just thought like him crawling on the elbows, man, like that was some grade A horror stuff there, and I thought that it was a cool way to end it. Got to obviously throw out the line at the end that I mentioned before, but I did like it. It felt like a good end to the movie, and yeah, I just thought it was for all the car chase scenes and stuff in the second one, the fact that they were able to do that big prolonged fight scene at the end of the first movie in 1984, I thought, to me, like I said, like I thought it really did hold up well, and that was a big part of it for me.
Yeah, and like I'll say, the only critique I feel like I have between both movies, there's a little rinse and repeat with the car chase scenes, and both Terminators coming out of the fire, like, so yeah, but that was a great scene, and it was badass when he was crawling on like his just half of his torso, basically body just crawling and shit like that. But yeah, like you said, we could have did without the Terminated fucking
Yeah.
dialogue. But other than that, great scene.
And again, I've said it a few times, but man, I really do just want to give a shout out to how badass the robot actually looked. Especially, it could have looked. I mean, we talked about how cheesy the robots were in The Fifth Element in the beginning,
Right.
and that the fact that they made a robot, and you could have put that same robot in a movie now, and it would be scary as hell.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the way they designed. I mean, you mostly just see like the arm and like the eye and stuff, but perfect. Like how it had all the different things, like almost looked like hydraulic.
Yeah.
And then the eye was perfect. Yeah, it's very good. Any Ani Menches for one?
I think we nailed all
So
the big ones. It was, a quote unquote short movie, so I think we hit all the good ones.
Yeah, I'll shout out one quick is just the beginning with Arnold. I mean, yes, his butt was fucking out of control, but I love. I mean, well, two also, but the beginning scenes when he shows up and is just like, "Give me your clothes," and then in one he meets up with the fucking street toughs
Yeah,
and just kills them.
yeah, just knocking their heads together.
Yeah. Oh man, nothing like an '80s movie when the street toughs have the fucking switchblades, and it's
Yeah,
like it's on now.
yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna get you.
and then the other guy, the other Terminator just punches a hole right through you.
Yeah.
That was cool too. I thought that was awesome. Like uh when he punched a hole through the dude and he comes out and the blood's coming out. Like my nieces walked in on that scene, so they're scarred
Oh,
for life.
good.
But other than that, yeah. So awesome. Sorry, Brian.
So they're not traumatized.
No.
All right. So favorite scene from T2 is Benny gonna go running back again?
Don't do it.
You know what? No, I won't. I will go with. Was the happiest and enjoyed the most is the scene in the car with John and Arnold when they're like, we've mentioned it a million times with the dickwad and chill out, and you're not supposed to react or say affirmative. But I don't know. Like I said, I liked the two of them. I like their chemistry together, and I'll let that bleed into the scene that I mentioned earlier with them underneath the car. And I honestly thought, I was very surprised at the end of the movie when he died. Spoiler alert. Because of that little voiceover where Sarah was saying, like, oh, I see it now. Like, this is going to be the machine that stays with him forever and protects him and gets him to where he is. What Reese told me, him being like this great leader. So I liked that because it made me feel like, oh, okay, cool. I could see like the relationship with the two of these guys continuing for a long time. So just at that point of the movie, I felt very happy. Like, it made me happy, and those moments were few and far between in both movies. So I enjoyed it. Again, anytime I get to see a little bit of Arnold's personality, sign me the fuck up.
It was good scene.
Sorry. Robbie, I think it's your turn.
Sure, this is easy for me. This blew my tiny Piscadell in 1991 off, and it blew my pretty decent Piscadell in 2023 off. It's the psych ward entire scene. Them coming to save Sarah, the T-1000, just everything he did in this scene. Sarah's escape, knocking Rip off Philip Seymour Hoffman in the face with the little broomstick. I just think that there's some of this stuff that's so iconic in this scene that just in 1991 was just unthinkable. And the way they pulled it off, it really just left me, even back then, like in shock. Him, Robert Patrick T-1000 walking through the bars. I mean, who
Right.
the fuck ever saw that happen before? That wasn't even my favorite thing. It was when he came up from the fucking tile
Yeah.
and impersonated that hefty cop. And then the poor guy, what do you get? A full house? Or what do you get with the
Yeah,
with the
Full House.
cup of Joe? And he was so excited. And nice
Yeah.
guy offered to get Bernice a cup of coffee as well, and she said no, thank you. But yeah, and then just that entire chase scene, Sarah getting out, her seeing Arnold for the first time again, and her freaking out, not knowing if he's good or bad. Her reaction to that was awesome. And then the chase between them and the T-1000, and him just blowing off his head. And then when you get that first glimpse of what happened, and you see the T-1000's head split in two, and then come back together, it just blew my mind back then, and it blew my mind till this day watching it because it was so awesome, and it still is. But that was such an intense scene, and then coming out of it, and then him latching on to the car, and then finally getting shot off, and he had his little fucking hook still in the car, and John Connor just chucks it off. I mean, the whole entire scene. There's so many great scenes, but this is my favorite scene in the entire movie. It was so well done.
Yeah. No, that you didn't steal it because I had another one in mind, but yours is better. Like, that scene is incredible, and I want to see if there's like a documentary about like how the fuck did they pull off that him walking through the jail, the gate, the door. That's wild, and the floor, incredible. What a scene. Good choice. Damn.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to look. I should. There's my many YouTube extravaganza. I should look up if there's any like T2 documentary,
Like
like
making
anything.
of kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I'm
There
sure
definitely
there
is, because I bought T2 on iTunes.
Oh,
It was
this guy.
$6, whatever, like
Let's
whatever.
get
And
back, huh? Look at this guy. Favorite movie
there's
of all
like
time.
there's like a 30-minute making of, so it's definitely out there.
All right. So my favorite scene in T2, I think, is maybe one of the chalk scenes. But the last sequence, the chase sequence into death of both Terminators. I mean, I know it's kind of, I'm taking a large chunk, but like even it's hard. Now I'm like going even further. It's like, oh, the whole movie was my favorite scene. But them leaving Cyberdyne and fucking T-1000 in a helicopter, and they're in the van and they're going at it, and then the helicopter crashes. He steals a fucking liquid hydrogen truck, or liquid nitrogen, one of the, I forget. Doesn't matter.
Nitrogen, yeah.
Nitrogen. Okay. And one of my favorite parts is when Arnold gets on the back of the truck and then jumps on the front of the tractor trailer and is just unloading
Yeah.
right into him, and he's just like, but then he's nothing, and then he gets frozen, and Arnold fucking hasta la vista babies him, and then he comes back together, and then the whole last fight, and I mean Arnold with the thumbs up, like killing himself. I know why you cry now, like, man, so good. My
It
goodness,
was, yeah.
man,
So good. So many fucking awesome
so
scenes
many
in that
good
movie.
scenes. Yeah,
Well, if we're gonna go into Ani Menches,
please do.
just the first encounter that they have in the mall when he, breaks
Yeah.
out the fucking shotgun out of the roses,
Yep.
and just the chase scene after that, like I mentioned before, with the shotgun and flipping it around every time to cock it again. Just Arnold ripping it on that motorcycle, just awesome.
So good.
Yeah, that was gonna be my honeymoon show. With just what a fantastic chase scene through the mall. The shotgun out of the rose, like the rose box, so great. I remember the first time seeing it, I'm like, man, fucking Arnold, how cool is this little fucking bastard?
That's it. And just when he's unloading at Cyberdyne, when he breaks out the window and he's shooting at all the cops, like just
With the minigun, yeah.
the minigun and then the fucking bazooka thing, so the grenade launcher, just really cool.
So cool.
And
I
of course, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I mentioned it with the beginning of one, but two, I mean, you said I'm a learning computer is something. He said we used to say, I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Yeah. Oh, that was cool too. Like, just not even that whole beginning scene, but but also cheesy at the same time.
Right.
When he talks to the owner, he's like, "I'm not letting you take his wheels, man." And he grabs the gun from him, takes the sunglasses. Would have been so great, but when they hit you with bad to the bone, probably awesome in '91. But now it felt
It was
so
pretty,
like
yeah, it was pretty corny.
tacky.
Yeah, yeah. I listened to that. Yes, I was like, could have did with a better song choice, but yeah,
But in
that
'91, that was probably hidden.
the fucking of course, people were going ballistic. They were going out and buying shotguns and shades with two S's. uh, yeah, that like I was gonna say, that's another. I mean, you took uh the mall and the car chase with the big rig, but I'll take the opening scene, the biker bar. That was fantastic as well. Getting a cigar put out on him and then just kicking everybody's fucking ass and taking off. It's a great opening scene. And then again, you get another shot of his tush. I mean, back to back butts, double feature on the tush.
Yeah, two cheeks, two movies. I love
Oh
it.
my goodness.
And you guys brought. I mean, I know that part was cheesy with the music, but I don't. We haven't really mentioned the music. The theme song is iconic, and so both the theme song and also the song for the T1000, like kind of whenever he would show up. But like, I mean the like. I every once in a while I just randomly will like drum that on my desk because it's so good.
That is a good one. And like you said, even a T1000's a little like screeching, like
Yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah.
that was great as well.
No. Very good. All right. Any other Ani mentions on favorite scenes or any other things you guys want to mention about either one of these movies before we get to our other segments?
I forgot at least favorite scene. Anytime you just murder a dog in a movie, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I should have deducted about 5
A few
points off of
points.
that. Yeah. But I mean, Arnold, was there a need? You could have just took the chain, the collar off of the dog without slicing his jugular open.
Yeah.
Save the dogs, man.
What's wrong with Wolfie? I can hear him in the background.
Oh yeah.
Fuck up, Todd.
All right. Well then I don't know if there's gonna be any way to but
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
let me break in with an Ani from T2.
Please.
The scene between John and Arnold, when he tells him to stand on the foot, and the two,
The two
the two
dudes.
bodybuilders come over. I thought that was a fun scene too.
Moi.
Yeah, the fucking loser.
There was a period of time though, like in the 90s, when people would say like random like words in other languages, like moi, uh, arrivederci, like just random things. I don't know. Do
Yeah,
people still? There's one guy I work with always says ciao, and I'm always like, "What are you doing, man?"
the worst.
How
Who
dare
do you
you?
think you are, George Clooney?
Who do you think got a fucking tooch?
Dude. All right. So, is there anything that you guys can think of to make either one of these movies better?
I won't say there's anything I can make it better with because I don't know. But do you guys know the original ending of T2?
No. What? Tell me everything.
So apparently, and I only read this once. I wish I kind of wrote it down or saved it, but I'm terrible at preparing for things. Apparently, I don't think Arnold dies or something, but John, or instead of leaving it at Arnold dying, like you
Uh-huh.
see that the loop is actually broken,
Okay.
and I think John becomes a senator and like
What?
devotes his life to like being to like fighting against AI and stuff
AI and
like that.
stuff.
Yeah.
That stinks.
But it stinks. But it also probably could have avoided them having 15 different spin-off movies that stunk.
That's true.
True.
I mean, they can when they want to make a sequel, they can
They'll
always
find a way.
retcon shit or like
Yeah.
whatever. Uh yeah. Following the T101's demise, because that was technically the Cyberdyne Systems Model 101, we cut to many years later. We see an elderly Sarah sitting at a park watching an adult John playing with his daughter. Sarah mentions Judgment Day didn't happen, and John became an American senator.
That's so stupid.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like that as much at all. But yeah, I mean, if you attribute like say Back to the Future time travel logic, like as soon as those things were destroyed, then like things might, erase or change or whatever. I don't know.
John disappears. But also,
Yeah, yeah,
here's where you can leave the loophole open because I don't know if this is a plot hole or done on purpose because I haven't seen the other movies. They were so thorough on throwing everything into the molten steel. What about Arnold's arm that got ripped off? They just left that there.
true.
So I don't know.
Yep. And you're gonna tell me that you blew up that building, like nobody that worked there like remembered anything they were working on. Like
Yeah.
you only can because the files are gone, like, oh, it's all gone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
All right, let's figure out how to make koozies now.
That's all right. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you could really make this better. Like, I know Terminator 1 for me wasn't scored as high, but I don't really have any like suggestions. Like I don't think it's a bad movie in any way. Like I still think it's good. I mean 7.4 is good to me, but I think it's just, the time the movie was made, some of the special effects. I know I try not to look too deep into that, but yeah. I don't really have a great answer here, to be honest.
Yeah, me either. I really can't see anything that will make both these movies better. Like the technology, obviously, but that was 1984, so that's something that's a little nitpickish on my end. But other than that, yeah, I really didn't. When I watched both of them, I tried to figure it out, but I really couldn't come up with any suggestions to make the movie better. I think they're just perfectly fine as is.
To me, I think I wish they would have tightened up some of the plot holes and stuff. Like there were just some silly things like I said with the cutting the cable in the elevator could have did that. Why does Sarah's cell have a keyhole on the inside? there's just like little things that I wish, I think we're spoiled in where we are now in 2023, where I feel like movies and TV shows really pride themselves on trying to take little things like that out of movies. So, and like I said, with the paradox at the end of the first movie, I wish in some way that was at least addressed. Like, how does, it makes sense, yes, but in some ways it shouldn't. So like, again, you need to have like that little romantic relationship with Reese and Sarah, but if it wasn't there, then that kind of answers the paradox, because he's not the one that gets her pregnant with John. So just that was, to me, like, I guess maybe I'm spoiled now, like I said, where I feel like people pay so much attention to those little details because they're constantly getting called out on anything, a Starbucks cup in, the last season of Game of Thrones. Like, all those little things get so nitpicked now that they're so good at closing that stuff. Whereas there were a couple things in these two movies where I felt like, I mean, really, like, we didn't think about that. So I would go with that.
Yeah. Great. So I know a way we can make it better.
I know two ways we
Casting.
can make it better.
Oh, casting a young, strong, handsome Matt Damon. So spin the wheel because we are playing. What did we decide? Oh, we didn't talk about it. Cast the young Matt Damon. So, who wants Robbie? Robbie should go last, I think. I hope, because he's been killing it. Benny, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first because I'll go off the beaten path a little bit. But give me the only thing that could have saved Ginger for me in the first movie is if her boyfriend was Matt Damon. Then I'd be like, all right,
That's what I was gonna pick too.
No
Oh
way,
my
really?
God, really?
As are we doing? We're doing just one.
I was
One
gonna
Matt
just
Damon?
do one, but we could
All
do.
right.
You can do two because I'm sure you have two excellent ones. Well, now you only have one.
I only have one now.
All right. I can't believe that was the guy you picked. I mean, you probably had a great story that's going to be better than mine, but that would have been the only way to make her tolerable for me. And then T2, you know what? I'll just leave it at that. Robbie, I'll let Robbie do his thing.
Well, real quick, I mean, just think about Matt Damon in those underwears that
Oh
her
my
boyfriend
God.
was in. I mean, man. I'll go
boner
quick
engaged.
and then Ryan. Fully engorged plums. I'm gonna cast a young, strong, athletic Matt Damon as a very quick T2000
Ooh,
Nice.
in the future. And that would be what maybe Terminator 3 would be actually based on, although they didn't go that route. But he was even a more advanced Terminator than the T1000, or maybe it actually probably should be a T1200 because there's a 600 and 800, 1000, and then so we'll go the T1200 as Matt Damon. Just I don't even liquid metal. What's even better than that? I have no idea.
Matt Damon.
He's in
Matt Damon, yeah.
He's in gas form.
Yeah,
Code
just pure
name
Matt Damon.
Code name Jason Bourne.
Sure, I love it.
Love it. Love it.
Have you seen all the Bourne movies?
I have not seen one Bourne movie.
Oh, maybe we should watch one of those next because they're pretty good.
I'd be
I've
down.
seen the first one, I think.
First one's good. Yeah, they're all good. I think there's three.
I just want to get to whatever movie they say, holy shit, that's Jason Bourne. That's what I want to get to.
All right, Robbie, what do you got? Even though Benny stole
I don't. He did, but I don't have anything crazy this week. This
okay.
might be controversial. I might get a few blowbacks, but give me a young, lean, mean, fighting machine, young buck, looking like $1 million. Give me Matt Damon as John Connor.
Oh,
I would love to see Matt Damon as John Connor. He would absolutely act circles around Edward Furlong. I get it. If I had to hear that fucking kid
come
voice
on.
break 20,000 times in a movie. I almost blew my freaking eardrums out. No, I just think that obviously, yeah, looking at hindsight's 2020, but Matt Damon as John Connor would fucking, I mean, it would have made this movie a 3,000. That's how great the movie would have been. And he could, of course, he just would have acted circles around it. So I would have loved to see what a real lean, mean, preteen Matt Damon would have did with that. with this movie. And then Ani Mensch, just give me a young, strong, virile, juxtaposed, fantastic looking, I mean, pecs for days as Arnold Schwarzenegger's body double in the opening scene. Because imagine Matt Damon's buns on the scene.
Oh man,
Oh my goodness.
those cheeks would have been unparalleled.
Oh my God, those cheeks would have been splitting. Please.
How about them apples?
He would have crushed an apple between those cheeks. I'll tell you that right now.
Probably.
That was his magic trick.
Oh my God. This game is so stupid, but it's so funny.
I hope like I said a couple episodes ago, I hope he finds this one day.
One day, and it's just like, these idiots, I need to be on the show, and we'll say,
Yeah,
you got it.
I need to invite these boys over to my house in Brooklyn and have them on, and we can do a podcast together.
There you go.
Does he live in Brooklyn?
I think so. Yeah.
I believe Brooklyn Heights. Yeah.
Ah, good for him. Shit. Well, is there anything else that we need to discuss about the Terminator or Terminator 2?
I'm glad we did it.
Same. Like I said before, I definitely do actually want to eventually watch all of them. I heard I think one of them, maybe Salvation, I'm not sure, but one of them is supposed to be pretty good. The rest of them are kind of like, eh.
Salvation is the last one with Arnold, right?
I don't know. I know
'Cause I
one of
think
them's got Christian Bale in it.
Yeah, that might be the Christian Bale one. Or
Oh.
Is that the one we
kinda
freaked
fucked
out?
up. Yeah,
I think Salvation.
you're amateur. Oh, good for you.
Is that the clip you guys play?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think there's Salvations with Linda Hamilton too. I think she comes back.
Yeah, she does in one of them.
Fuck it.
I'll watch them eventually. Yeah, Terminator 2, then Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Then there was a TV series with Cersei was in it. And then there was
Chris Christie, you said?
What?
With Cersei from Game of Thrones.
Oh, they said Chris Christie.
Lena Headey. Yeah. Chris Christie was in it. He was just blocking bridges all over the place.
Nice.
And then Terminator Salvation was 2009 with Christian Bale. Terminator Genesis was 2015. And then 2019 was Terminator Dark Fate. And that's when Linda Hamilton came back.
Jesus Christ, with all these fucking Terminators.
That's 5. Genesis.
Will I finish the Yakuza games first or watch the rest of these movies first?
I'm going to go
with Yakuza game.
Probably. I already got 2 in the books.
All right. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, they're all rated like low 6s. But I thought I heard one of them was pretty decent. Whatever. Doesn't matter. All right.
Chris Christie in Terminator Salvation. Get off my bridge.
Watch my fucking lower belly fat just beat up.
How high will his pants go?
Does he have a penis? An actual working penis. Chris Christie in Where's My Dick?
Well done, boys.
Yes, as usual. Did we decide what the next 3 are for next week?
I think we're still recording, so we don't want to spoil it.
No, I know. I was just
But we have football week coming up.
That's right. We got that coming up. We got Kenny's coming on. He's gonna pick some movies for us.
Back to school week.
Back to school week. spooky season week, and then holiday movies are coming up in a couple months too. So we got a lot on the docket.
Yeah.
So send us an email. Wow, never mind. LTBW podcast at gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. And yeah, send us a message. If there's movies you want us to watch and talk about, let us know. We're always open for suggestions, but also send us a message if we forgot something or if we did great. I mean, it'd be really nice if you told us we were great. So
Please.
Don't forget to vote. You can win $100.
Oh, true. Very true. Yeah, that's starting next week. So
Yep.
fucking vote. If not, A, you won't win $100, and B, Robbie will come to your house and hide in
Terminate
the
you.
like the T1000 get you.
I'll terminate you. I'll terminate dogs too. I don't care. Nobody's safe around me.
The last thing you'll ever hear
Terminator.
is Robbie saying, "You're terminated."
All right. Well, thank you. I guess tell him good night, Robbie.
Good night, Todd. Gone too soon. Milk's gone bad.
Fuck you, asshole.
I need the vacation.